Now let's come to the 22nd century, the 21st century. Let's come to 2022. And let's come to Texas. How do we preach this to the families of those children in Texas? How do we preach this to parents throughout the world? And we have some children here today who are approximately that age, 3rd, 4th grade kids. How do we preach this message to those who are suffering and will suffer for the rest of their lives as parents who lost their children? How do we preach this message to the anger toward the perpetrator and his family? How do we live in this world when we know that what happened in Texas is not the only time we had a mass shooting in our country, on our soil? How do we live with this shot in the arm that Jesus came, resurrected, ascended, and promises the Spirit? And it's that last piece that really gives us the fullness of the message, the Holy Spirit with us. The fact that the Holy Spirit is God's kiss to the creation, is with us, gives us strength to be optimistic and to be carefully mourning and giving thanks at the same time. Giving thanks for those beautiful kids, giving thanks for those who rescued them eventually for the rest of the school, giving thanks for the lives of the children in those families. And while we do that, we mourn that. That conflict is so Christian. The mourning and the celebrating, the cross and the resurrection, is so rooted in our message as Christians. Then, the time of Jesus, and since then. But there's optimism because Christ is with us, and Christ is with those children and those families, and you and I have to really snap to it and assure them of our prayers. Whether you do it on social media, write a letter, or just go to church and pray for them, or in the privacy of your own homes, pray for those families, those parents whose angels are deceased. See, the Ascension is just not another thing in the big book called the Bible. Turn the page, another story, turn the page, another story. No, it's our map. It's our shot in the arm. It's our stop, look, and listen moment when we realize we have to activate what's written in the Scriptures. Jesus, who is in heaven and glory, has given us His Spirit, and that Spirit gives us hope. And we've got to act on that hope, even in our own society, our own neighborhoods, here in Manhattan. What's the phrase? If you see something, say something. You know what? I think as a society we're obligated, especially after 9/11, see something, say something. I don't know the whole story, none of us will ever, but some parts of it is the perpetrator had exhibited signs of mental illness. I'm a therapist. I deal with mental illness. I deal with emotional problems as a therapist and as a priest. When we see it in our families and in our society, see something, say something. We need to report. We need to tell our families and friends or the person who is carrying the illness, we need to get you to the hospital. We need to care for you because this is not average behavior. We don't use the word normal. This is not average behavior. Accumulating weapons of war is not average behavior for a young man. Unless you're out hunting. That's a whole nother story. But when someone who is exhibiting mental illness on public media or his own home or his group society, see something, say something. We need to go to him first or her first and express concern what you're doing is really frightening me. And you could be personal. What you're doing is frightening me. Accumulating these kind of weapons, using this kind of vocabulary, accusing anyone of less than you behavior. In other words, through prejudice and hate. I'm concerned. Can we seek help? And go with the person. If is the person in your family, yes. Let's go see a therapist, a doctor, a hospital. Let's go and find out what's at the root of this. See something, say something. Yes, yes. And how many times we hear after a perpetration like this, after this kind of a mass killing, oh, there were signs. You know, you want to get those signs and put them someplace. Come on, if there were signs, then the signer, the one who saw them, should have reported them. First to the kid, first to the person. I'm concerned with you. And you know and I know that hate, prejudice, loss of dignity is inside a person. But it doesn't just flower there. It just doesn't get dropped there. It's accumulated by his own environment, his own history, his own family, where he learns no self-worth, where he learns hate, where he learns prejudice. I say he generically. So each of us is obligated to surround ourselves and our family members with the hope that comes from the Holy Scriptures. And our hope is in Jesus, who is with us, glorified, but has sent the Holy Spirit to give us strength every day on earth.